All right, welcome everybody to Rockin' Fights 10. So, the reason why I show that to open the press conference and why we're going to be showing that now, from now on at every Paramount show on the big screens as the main fight or co-feature fights come into the ring, is because this being our 10th installment at the Paramount, we've found the success is tremendous. And obviously we're very pleased with the fans and Long Island. And part and parcel with that, what we'd like to do is incorporate a fan experience. So as you see right now, the focus is on our team, that being the Star Boxing team of fighters. We want to cultivate that team aspect here in Long Island. If you notice, here in the ring right now in the arena are two fighters that have been fighting on the Paramount shows, Anthony Carparis and Alan Gauthier. Both guys that are exciting fighters, have been on the undercards on our shows. And we want to further development that concept that they're all part of a team here at the Paramount with Star Boxing. And we're going to be doing a lot more in the future with respect to that team concept with the fighters that are developed here at the Paramount. But also with the fans and developing the fan experience. So on Saturday night, September 14th, for those fans across the country and across the world, because now the Paramount series, the Rockin' Fights series, has become a very popular series on the boxing circuit. What we're going to be doing starting this Saturday, we're going to be streaming that live throughout the world on the internet. And part and parcel with that is we're going to have roaming reporters that will be doing interviews with fans during the fight, interviewing the crowd, the fan experience, because there's no experience like seeing a fight live at the Paramount. It is the best boxing venue in the country. With that being said, I want to recognize that one of the commentators that will be doing the broadcasting of the blow-by-blows, what's going on inside the ring, is here today, a Long Island resident. And I bring up a Long Island resident because I'm going to get to a little bit later about the impact that we've had on Long Island through this series. But also a former New York State Athletic Commissioner, a trainer, I mean, you know, a whole host of things that he's done in boxing, but also a commentator extraordinaire. In fact, he commentated fights when I was fighting, and he commentated my fight at the Garden, the Golden Glove Championship. And that's Randy Gordon, so I want to recognize Randy Gordon here. And he'll be doing the commentating of the blow-by-blows the night of the fight. Thank you, Randy. The fight will be live. The live show will be taking place September 14th across the street at the Paramount. Again, the best venue in boxing. The doors will open at 7 p.m. We're actually going to open the doors at 6:45 p.m. to accommodate for something else that's going to be taking place at 7:15 p.m., which we'll tell you about. The first fight will go in the ring at 7:30. Then there will be two undercard fights, one of which will be Wendy Toussaint, a local 1-0 fighter that pleased fans last time here at the Paramount. Then we'll be going with the Pitbull, Costa Bejarahu. And Randy, you'll say it better than I do when he fights, but he is probably the closest thing you'll see on the way up to a Mike Tyson. Just comes out there winging punches like crazy. He's just unbelievable. He scored a couple of knockouts. Well, he scored all knockouts in the last couple of fights. I know he fought the last time here at the Paramount. I believe it was the January show, and electrified the fans. Heavyweight, so he'll be the second fight of the night. Then we'll go to our co-feature fights, the two main fights of the night. And in one of those fights, you're going to be witnessing probably one of the toughest and well-known world champions in boxing in a long time. And he has fought every top fighter in his weight division. He's fought Manny Pacquiao. He's fought Miguel Cotto, and he fought Antonio Margarito. He stopped Zab Judah to win the welterweight championship of the world. And he'll be fighting in that co-feature, that's Joshua Clody, okay? And you'll also have the favorite here from Huntington, who, you know, like I often have said, if Babe Ruth built Yankee Stadium, Chris Algieri built the Paramount with his fights and his crowd and his action. And he'll be going as well, and that would be one of the 4 live fights that'll take place that night. And that will conclude our live show fights taking place in the ring at the Paramount. Then as an added benefit, and again, something that we wanted to do as a give back to the fans, is that we've purchased the closed circuit rights for the biggest fight in years to take place in boxing. It's the Super Bowl of boxing, and that's the Floyd Mayweather versus Saul Canelo Alvarez World Championship fight, which is going to be taking place in Las Vegas. We'll go to the big screens on that, and all the fans that have a ticket with no extra fee, that's why I say it's the best bargain in Long Island. For the price of an admission ticket to see sensational undercard, to get the vibrant experience that takes place at the Paramount, to watch former world champion and hopefully again future world champion Joshua Clody, to watch Chris Algieri, to see that whole experience live, as well as mingle with the fans. And by the way, Chris Algieri brings in, which is unheard of in boxing, but 50% audience is beautiful females. That's a big change in boxing. So vibrant atmosphere there. But in addition to all of that, the price of that admission is also going to get you the ability to watch the Floyd Mayweather-Canelo Alvarez fight, as well as the undercard fights from that show. Well, most importantly, the co-feature fight from that show, the Lucas Matisse versus Danny Garcia fight, which is also expected to be a great fight. And that will go on live on the big screens all over the Paramount. So it's an exciting night, Saturday night of boxing. Again, tickets are available. They range from $50 up to $200 for a limited number of VIP first row ringside seats. And you can get those tickets at the box office. You can get those tickets from Ticketmaster. You can get those tickets on starboxing.com or by calling even our office, 718-823-2000. But in any event, best spot, go across the street, go to the Paramount, get them right from the box office. Before I move forward with this press conference, I would like to, at this point in time, do something that takes place in boxing. You know, when we scheduled this press conference, we were certainly well aware of the fact that it's taking place on September 11th, a day which 12 years ago, it was a day that, you know, we'll all remember what we were doing and who we lost. So at this particular point in time, we're going to do something that takes place in boxing. And normally what we do is when somebody passes away, we do a 10 count. But I think it's more appropriate this time, instead to do a 10-pound count, is just to do a 10-second moment of silence in honor of those who were lost at 9/11. Thank you. Saturday night, September 14th. I'm excited for the night that's taking place. I've mentioned that we are going to have some phenomenal action. We're going to be streaming that fight live, and we're going to be working on that fan experience. One of the things that has come about based upon this phenomenal experience that we've been having at the Paramount is what we've been able to give back to Long Island. These shows that we do bring in extraordinary business to the area. On Saturday night, because of the crowds that come in, because of the fans that frequent the Paramount, New York Avenue here in Huntington is packed. The restaurants become crowded with our fans that frequent the establishments here. But in addition to that, the hotels in the area. I mean, we bring in 50 to 100 people on a show, participants for a show, people that are working the show, managers, trainers, doctors, the whole gamut. And that's really turned into a tremendous amount of business for Long Island. And we're pleased to be able to do that. I'm pleased that Chris Algieri has been an important part of that. And what I'm very pleased to announce is that on Saturday, the county executive, Steve Ballone, will be here at 7:15, and he'll be doing an in-the-ring award/proclamation with respect, and I'm honored to say to myself for the business that we've brought to Long Island, and to Chris Algieri for all he's done over here for Long Island as well. So we're going to open the doors a little earlier than we announced. Instead of 7 p.m., we're going to open them at 6:45. County Executive Ballone will be there at 7:15, and inside the ring at 7:15 we'll be presenting those awards. So feel free to get there early for that as well. As you know, the Paramount's a great location. The bars are all over the place. There's a lot of action there, so it's a great place to be there even before the fights start. But we're going to start the show at 7:30 p.m. sharp because we want to make way for the big screens afterwards as well. All of this wouldn't take place without our sponsors. And I want to recognize a couple of the sponsors that have been great supporters of us throughout the 10 fights that we've done. Some of them come on board a little bit later, but all of them are great sponsors of ours. Firstly is Modell's. Got to go to Moe's. Great sports store. They just opened one up here in Huntington, which I'm pleased, as now we'll have a place to go right here and do our open workouts. So Modell's, I want to thank them. Fox Hollow. It's a hotel that we frequent. I know that Tim Lane comes in from Las Vegas, and every time he tells me, I want to stay at Fox Hollow. That's the best place out here. And he's right. It's a perfect hotel. I'm pleased to have them as a sponsor. And obviously, the Paramount across the street, the best place to watch boxing. And last but not least is actually a individual who's here right now, so I'm going to recognize him anyway, and that's Joe Palumbo of Camelot Limousines. And Joe, I tell you, he's got the best limos on the island. A year ago, I like to drive anyway. I like to drive my car. I like to go back and forth. But a year ago, as you know, I had a bad accident coming back from a show. So wasn't my fault. I was hit by a driver who was coming the wrong way on the LIE. But in any event, since then, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to stay out in Long Island when I have my shows. And I stay at the Fox Hollow, great place. And Joe says, you know what? I'm going to get you a limo every time you got to go back and forth. And he's got the safest limos on Long Island. I mean, they do these tests, they do these studies. But anyway, not only the limos are safest, the drivers are the safest, the whole bit. So I'm pleased that I can say that I can endorse them because Camelot Limo has been the limo company that I use all the time now, wherever I go. When I go down to the city, when I have to go to the airports, which is very frequent because I'm traveling a couple times, sometimes a week. But anyway, Joe's Camelot Limos are there to pick me up. Thank you, Joe. By the way, he's actually participating in a fight for charity. So you could ask around about that fight for charity. It's taking place in November. Joe, November 25th. And it's going to be taking place at the Hilton Melville, right? Don't tell Fox Hollow that. No, but it'll be at the Hilton Melville, and it's for a great cause. It's a charity event, and Joe's actually going to be boxing in that event. So support that event. I know I have. In fact, I have my check here. Joe, don't leave without it. All right. But it's a good event, and it's for a good cause, for charity. Lastly, let me thank one other sponsor, or I'm going to call it a sponsor, but it's where we are right now, and that's Meehan's of Huntington. As you can see, people that are here and those that are not here, but by the way, this press conference is being streamed live throughout the Long Island region, but also throughout the country for a lot of the boxing press that are right now in Las Vegas preparing for the Floyd Mayweather fight. So we've actually streamed it live so they can get to this press conference live and be able to take quotes from the fighters, Chris Algieri and Joshua Clottey. In any event, Meehan's, great place for those that aren't here. It's a right across the street from the Paramount, so before the fights, after the fights, you can come in here, you could have a drink, you could eat. I know Monday night is football night here, so great place. I want to thank the proprietors here, the two owners, Patrick and Michael Meehan, who have owned the place for years and do a great job here. Getting to the fights, I've discussed the undercard. I'm going to get right now and go right to the two main fights. And what I'd like to bring up first to say a couple words on behalf of Joshua Clottey is going to be his trainer, Godwin Gauthier. And Godwin is a renowned trainer, has been training Joshua for a long time now. They both came here from Africa to continue their training here. He trains normally back home, and then prior to a fight, he'll come here, 6 to 8, maybe this time 10 weeks, right, before the fight to finish off, conclude his training here. And he actually does his training in the Bronx, which is dear to me since that's where I'm from. But Joshua Clottey, his trainer, Godwin. Come on up, Godwin. And he's going to tell us about how Joshua is ready and back, and he was going to grab back this championship of the world.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's a pleasure to come and fight here in Long Island. And we know that we've been out for some time, quite close to 2 years since Joshua fought. And so we've prepared very, very well for this very upcoming event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Godwin. Now I'm going to ask to bring up, again, Joshua Clottey is 36-4. 37-4. All right, I missed the one, and exactly. Missed the last one. 37-4. He's coming off a nice sensational knockout win, okay? And he has fought everybody, okay? Antonio Margarito, as I stated. Zab Judah, who he beat for the championship of the world. Manny Pacquiao, considered to be the greatest fighter in the world. And by the way, he fought Manny Pacquiao at Cowboy Stadium in one of the biggest events there was. And Miguel Cotto, who he lost a very disputed split decision to, where he busted Cotto all up. He's considered to be one of the toughest guys in the game. Right? Steel chin, never knocked out. I mean, he's fought everybody in the world. I don't think he's ever even been down. He's rock solid. Certainly, when you refer to a veteran, okay, he's beyond that. He's, again, former world champion who has fought everybody in the industry. And at this point in time, I'm going to ask him to come up, say a couple words. The former world champion, 37-4, with 24 knockouts, right? 24 knockouts. Joshua Clottey.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank the media for coming. I want to thank Star Boxing, the crew, especially Mr. Jody Guardia. And I want to thank Chris and my trainer and David Berlin. You know, I really wanted to fight everybody in 154 like I did in 147. So right now, this is the first challenge for me. I think I have to go to the ring and do my job because I really need some people in my life that I wanted to fight, especially Miguel Cotto, because I know the first fight I won and they robbed me. So I want a rematch. So because of that, I have to be very ready for every fighter that will come in front of me. And because of that, I am ready Saturday, and I'm going to prove to everybody that Joshua Clottey is back. Thank you very much.
Joshua is going to be fighting Deshaun Johnson, who is a veteran himself from California. He's known for being an upset fighter. So Joshua's going to be in a tough fight, but he's going to show you his wares and show you what he's got. And I'm expecting to see some good things from Joshua. As we've announced about a month, some time ago, we're very high on Joshua. We're expecting to see him fight again for the championship of the world against some of those guys that he's really looking forward to fighting, including Miguel Cotto, who, by the way, is fighting Delvin Rodriguez, another one of our fighters, on October 5th on HBO down at the Amway Center in Orlando. So the winner of that looks to be a potential fight for Joshua Clottey. And if that's not enough, there's another fighter that fought over here, right here at the Paramount, when we did our Showtime show on January 25th, and that's Demetrius Andrade. He fought across the street again at the Paramount. Demetrius Andrade, undefeated fighter, fighting for the championship of the world on November 9th on HBO also. Well, he's going to be fighting for the championship of the world against Vance Martrosian. The winner of that fight will have the championship of the world, another potential for Joshua. So there's a lot of opportunities out there at the 154-pound weight class, and certainly opportunities that we're involved with Star Boxing. And I look forward to a lot of big things from Joshua. Thank you, Joshua. And also I recognize his advisor who's standing here, Dave Berlin, who's been working very hard on his behalf. David. So, one of the interesting things that I've just touched upon is the platform that the Paramount is providing. And the Paramount, when you look and say, okay, well, the last time that Demetrius Andrade fought here in January, since that time, he has gone on to become, well, actually at that time he was number 3 in the world, and now he's the mandatory for the championship of the world, and he's now fighting in his next fight for the championship of the world in a major fight on HBO. Well, that's the kind of platform that we hope to develop at the Paramount, and that's what we have developed. One of the ones that started that has been Chris Algieri. And it's my expectation that next year will be the year that Chris Algieri graduates to the HBO Showtime platforms. He's been on NBC, scored a sensational win against Peralta that night, against the guy that was favored to beat him. And yet Chris won the fight here handedly, did a great job. In his last fight, he was sensational, fighting a real veteran in Mike Arnudis. Showed that how important training is when, after the first couple of rounds of feeling out process, I'll say a tough process in the first couple of rounds, Chris turned the page and took over the fight. In any event, at this point in time, I'm going to ask to come up and say a couple of words for him. While I say, ignore that masked man behind the curtain, right? The wizard. But anyway, that wizard's Ron Katz. He's the matchmaker. He's done a great job, actually, for our fights here at the Paramount. And so, Ron, you can wave now since you came through. But Ron's done a great job being a matchmaker on our shows. And he's a vital part of how we've been able to give the fans such exciting fights, particularly those undercard fights, which are wars, as Carl Paris and Gauthier both know and can attest to. In any event, I'm going to ask him to come up now and say a couple of words, especially since I touched upon Chris's performance in his last 2 fights, which keeps improving. And that's the trainer and advisor of Chris Algieri, and that's Tim Lane.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for coming out. I'd like to say that Chris has been he's been probably the best kid or best pupil you could ever have, and he's been doing what he's been doing for about 13 years now, and his training's been going better and better. He's performed and shown every single time. And he's become what we always talk about as being a master boxer. He's traveled all over the world to trying to get his skills as good as he has. And he's feeling great. This Saturday night's going to be a great performance. I know people are looking forward to seeing the Floyd fight, but we got the real master boxer right here, which will be taking his place. So Saturday night is going to be on. And thank you all so much. Looking forward to seeing you guys. All right.
So now I'd like to introduce to you somebody you all know well, and certainly well known here in Huntington, well known here in Long Island, New York, and I'll take it even further now because he's really been making waves in boxing itself nationally. And that's a result of really the fights that he's been developing on here at the Paramount, as a result of the last 2 fights where he's fought his 2 most experienced competitors in Peralta, a real puncher, and Arnudis, a real experienced southpaw. And I guess also based upon his background, I mean, Chris is a perfect spokesperson for the sports, for this sport. And it's a good example of the type of people that are in this sport. I mean, we have here a graduate of Stony Brook University here in Long Island. Not only is he a former kickboxing champion and undefeated as a pro, 17-0, but he's also, and not only is he a trainer and a model and a spokesperson and a whole host of things, but he's also taken his graduate studies where he is desirous and will be a doctor someday, but has put his medical school studies on hold so that he could pursue his boxing career, which is his dream, to become champion of the world. And he's been steadily developing on that pace. He's been certainly progressing, and I'm very pleased at the development that he's shown. I'm also pleased, obviously, at what he's been doing across the street at the Paramount, because I think there's nothing better for the sport than to have that grassroots level of boxing. But he's gotten himself to a point now where he's 17-0 and developed a perfect venue out here. Now we have networks that are prepared and ready to come in to the Paramount to broadcast his fights, where he'd be the main event. We're negotiating with several of those networks now for his next fight. And obviously, you know, there's going to come a point in time where you might not be able to see Chris here at the Paramount. So, and that's because the venue only holds, you know, a little over 1,000 people. And we're going to graduate him to other venues in time as well. So what I would say is, while you have the opportunity to see him in a venue like this, and there is no venue like the Paramount, while you have the opportunity to be up close, no matter what you buy a seat for, if you buy a $50 seat, you're still going to be up close and be able to see that fight. Never mind if you get a $200 seat, you're going to be able to get the sweat. But in any event, while you could see that experience up close, and while you could see him here developing, and again, look, I've spoken to Chris. It's my intention that even when he grabs the world championship, we're going to pull 1 or 2 fights back here at the Paramount, because I think it's that kind of place. I think it's going to ultimately be, and I think it is now, the kind of place where fighters are going to say, I want to fight at the Paramount. The same way, you know, you get one of those old CBGB clubs in the city, and people say, I want to play there at that club, no matter how big these stars become. And that's the Paramount. But right now, Saturday night, you could see him. You could see him live, September 14th. And again, it's a man who I'm figuring right now, and I've been pretty accurate in my assessments of my fighters, but I figure that by next year he'll be fighting for the championship of the world, and certainly on national television every fight. Chris Algieri.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It's great that everyone showed up. I really appreciate it. I want to thank Meehan's. This is a great restaurant and local bar, And like Joe said, it's great to come here before the fight, after the fight, even on Monday night. Nice local place. Thank you, guys. As Joe's been saying, the Paramount really is just a beautiful venue. It is the premier venue on Long Island for boxing. And, hopefully soon enough, the Paramount can be to Long Island what the Blue Horizon was to Philadelphia, before those doors were closed. This is a premier place, premier venue for fighters to fight, and it's a place that fighters want to get on. I get contacted all the guys all the time by fighters who are like, "Can you get me on the Paramount show? Can you get me on the Paramount show?" Sorry, guys, I'm not the promoter. I don't say who goes on the show, but it's already becoming that kind of venue, and it's been a great experience. Fighting in my hometown and building this up and bringing Long Island boxing, back to the forefront of the sport. As for this Saturday night, September 14th is a big night in the boxing world. But, in terms of Floyd and everything like that, I'm focused on my fight. Joe's talking about, next fights and future fights. That's not on my mind right now. I'm really worried about September 14th, making sure that we're 100% prepared. And as my trainer can attest, we are ready, and we're ready to go out there and to perform at our best. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm feeling really great this week. And this Saturday is going to be a great show. If you didn't buy a ticket, there's still time. This is the show you do not want to miss. We've got great fighters. We've got Joshua Clottey, who's awesome fighter from these past couple years. You got myself, you got some other local talent, and then finally you got the Mayweather and Canelo fight, which is as big as a fight as can be made in the sport today. So it's a great night for boxing, and September 14th is going to be a great night. Make sure you guys come out. I appreciate you guys coming out today. I'll see you all on Saturday night. Thank you very much.
So Chris hit it right on the head. He's got to worry about Saturday night. And Saturday night, Chris is going to be in with another tough veteran. Years ago, we found out what kind of fighters come from Nicaragua, and that was Alexis Agruelo. Well, on Saturday night, Chris is going to be fighting a very tough veteran from Nicaragua, Wilfredo Acuna. And one of those kind of guys that comes forward and doesn't know the word quit. And Chris is going to have to do what he so often does, but he's going to have to do it again Saturday night because he's got to keep winning. Boxing is an unforgiving game. You have to win. And that's what gets you to the top. That's what gets you to the championships, and that's what gets you on the networks. It's an important thing. So Chris has got his work cut out Saturday night. Joshua has his work cut out Saturday night. But all of you will be able to see a great night of boxing Saturday, September 14th. Again, there's still tickets left. I suggest you go out there, get your tickets. It's the best value, not in boxing, not in Long Island, not in Huntington. It's the best value in all of New York, I would say. To be able to watch these fights at those ticket prices, and in addition, to have free the pay-per-view fight of Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez on the same card. Chris told me before, I hope all my friends realize and know before the fight what this is and what they're getting here, and that we're actually showing the fight at the Paramount after the live fights of Joshua Clottey and Chris Algieri. He wants to make sure that his friends know because it's phenomenal. You have to pay $65, $64.95, if you wanted to buy it to watch the fight on your own. And here you are, you can get into the Paramount for $50, see Chris's fight live, see Joshua's fight live, see all the other fights live, see all the beautiful women that Chris brings to the fights, right? And mingle with the crowd, mingle with the fans, see our lovely ring card girls that are going to be all over fight night. Actually, one of them just walked in, Cheryl, so I recognize Cheryl here. But to be able to mingle with everybody, enjoy the ambiance, have fun, be with the fantastic staff from the Paramount, which again, not only do I have beautiful ring card girls, I have beautiful hostesses there and waitresses there. It's the perfect location. So not only we have all of that, but you also have the ability to watch live from Las Vegas the Super Bowl of all fights, Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting our events. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you.